boom, 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 boom.
Our masters taught. 4 men entered the Pardes, namely Ben Azai, Ben Zoma, Acher, and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva said to them, "When you arrive at the slabs of pure, transparent marble, do not say, 'Water, water.'" Well, first of all, they're going into the Pardes, into supposedly a forest, something that's not necessarily a path, but something that's more of a grove where you have to find your way through.
When I grew up in Nashville, there was an extremely vibrant Jewish community. All the communities, Reform, Conservative, and Orthodox, got along together. They worked together in the community. But one of the things that you could not miss was that there wasn't any Jewish learning there to speak of.
The community was, as I said, very sophisticated communally, but as far as Judaism went, as far as intellectual Judaism, I didn't even know that existed.
LIbby and I came to Israel a number of times, beginning in 1970, and we liked the people we met, we liked the lifestyle here, and decided if we ever could, we'd like to move and live here. So we did.
I learned a little bit about Pardes. One of the members was Fran Albert, and Fran was organizing a group of women, and she was using Meir Schweiger and Baruch Feldstern, and we would meet, 15 of us, every 2 weeks for several hours at somebody's house, and we studied with them, and I was fascinated. It really, for a long time, was the only place available where you could get this kind of learning.
I think that our Jewish world out there is in trouble. I think it's been in trouble for a long time. People are assimilating out of the community, and the opportunities for learning, while they're greater today than they ever were, there's just a very small minority of people who are really doing Jewish study.
I grew up during the Holocaust, and for some reason, I really strongly identified. I was just, a child, but I knew that children my age were being destroyed, and I, for some reason, accepted a burden of responsibility, and I felt like if Jewish people were going to survive, then it was up to me to do something. But what do you do? So when I found Pardes, it sort of gave me a feeling that if I could help young people find their way into a rich Jewish life, where they would marry Jews and have Jewish children, that it was a big answer for me.
I would honestly say I was not really serious about much in life until I came here.
That 2-year period was an amazingly evolutionary time in my life.
My son Aaron entered the Garden of Pardes a young man, and he came out a young adult.
I think it's probably a lifelong process that maybe I can't even see now how much it will have changed me.
I think what's special about the Pardes experience is that we're not just the heirs of those rabbis long ago. All our students feel that they're sitting there with the rabbis. Rabbi Akiva's at the table, and for that matter, Elisha ben is at the table. We argue with all of them. We agree with many of them. We stand up and we embrace them all together.
Each one will see something different. They'll see themselves, but in themselves they'll see something different.
One of the great qualities of Pardes is that every student who comes into Pardes is transformed, yet they're still recognizable. They're still true to themselves.
People of almost all ages, from all backgrounds, from some of the most learned people I've ever encountered to people who are just encountering the text for the very first time, and to validate each and every person as the learner they are, as the learner they can be, in a spirit of inclusiveness.
We bring together Jews of all stripes, and everybody knows that it's a safe space. One of the unique things about Pardes is that our students are so different coming in. And they're also so different when they leave. There isn't a cookie-cutter approach at Pardes. We don't expect everybody to leave the same. What we do expect and we do hope to achieve is to increase not only their Jewish literacy, but also their love of Torah, their passion for Jewish life. But where people will take that is going to be wildly different.
Pardes totally transformed me because I met my wife here. My wife was my substitute Gemara teacher. Thank God I didn't go to the Mir and marry my substitute Gemara teacher, because then I'd be married to like an 80-year-old chain-smoking rabbi.
But why does Rabbi Akiva come out?
He did it in a slow, methodical way. He didn't just rush in there and eat all the honey at one time. It seems to me what it's saying is that when you enter this world of study, you have to do it slowly and methodically and with some guidance. You can't just rush in and try to suck it all up at one time, or it'll overwhelm you. You'll get lost. You'll become acher, or you'll become demented, or you'll die. Not literally, figuratively.
To be a Pardes teacher, you have to have an openness to students, a willingness not only to be engaged in the text and in the subject matter, but also in the life of the student, and also in the lives of so many different students coming from so many different backgrounds and so many different patterns of observance or belief systems.
It's more than the actual material that you're learning. The people who are teaching it to you and their belief in you as a person, their belief in what you're capable of.
Good.
I never had a teacher describe an idea as beautiful. Like, oh, c'est yafeh. That's a really beautiful idea. And it was just intoxicating to me.
That moment when the teacher looks at you and says, oh, it's excellent, yafeh. And that happens so much here, so much. It really is, it's a broad invitation.
Teaching here has really helped me to become a better listener. Because for me, what it means to be a teacher is to be able to listen to my students and to hear where they're at and what their questions are and what's important to them. I really forge real friendships with the students who are here, and that's unique. I've taught in other places, it doesn't happen everywhere.
I do remember my teacher, Mayor Schweiger, on one of the first days, just being astounded with the fact that he would sit in a chair and talk about Torah so fluidly, with so much knowledge and commentary before he even opened up his Tanakh. So, I mean, I think one of my first memories, and it holds true for every educator here, is the internalization of Torah that they have.